The future's already here. It's just not evenly distributed yet. So, how do you find out what's going to be the next big thing? Well, taking a page from my favorite philosopher of antiquity, Marcus Aurelius, if you know the past with its rising and falling empires, you know the future as well. A lot of today's biggest innovations mirror developments across history in many different countries, regions, and cultures. Humans are humans, though we invented all sorts of things to separate us. A lot of what we consider modern goes back a long, long way. For example, how about oil and gas drilling? How old do you think that is? Maybe 1800s, Victorian era? Well, I think you're off by about 1500 years. The first oil wells, at least based on my research, go back to the 4th century in China. How about computers? Maybe the 1960s or the 1940s with ENIAC, or maybe Charles Babbage's analytic engine if we want to go back to the Victorian era. Or if we want to go back even further, how about the Antikythera mechanism from ancient Greece? The Antikythera mechanism is not technically a computer, but it was essentially a clockwork calculator made sometime around the Roman era, and it was discovered in the late 1940s by two Greek fishermen. How about weapons feeding magazines? Manned portable weapons carrying 10, 20 rounds. Not necessarily firearms, mind you, but the Chinese had invented a repeating crossbow around the 3rd century BC. There's the State of Chu, which is a essentially double pump-action crossbow. Really interesting design if you want to look it up. But interestingly, there also were flintlocks and muzzle loaders that could fire multiple rounds before being reloaded. Just look up the superposed load, the belt and flintlock, and other concepts. The reason I'm bringing all of these up is because we have a certain popular culture narrative about technology and science. Ideas are invented, sometimes ignored, sometimes forgotten, more often just remain some obscure bit of trivia, something that we're overlooking easily. There's thousands of years of civilization, thousands of years of ways humans have altered artifacts and their environment to suit their own needs. Limits on technology constrain what that culture or that group of people can do. So, what I would propose is don't just look at the history of science and technology. Look at the historiography of science and technology. Who wrote accounts of different scientists? Who is heralded as a great innovator? What came before them? What did they replace? Every scientist stands on the shoulders of giants. Look at those giants and who they often had to prove their theories or prove their work against. A closed system stagnates. Science is strong because it's open and constantly changing. If you learn what limited technology in the past and maybe some way of taking a current idea or recent discovery and applying it back to something older, something a bit more obscure, maybe that's something just waiting to happen. So, the future's already here. Some of it might have just happened centuries or millennia ago. Take one foot in the past, one foot in the present, and you'll have a firm foothold for the future.